Good evening. I'd like to call the Muhlenberg Township Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, December 18, 2023 to order. All please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Marcy, good evening. For the minutes, if you could just make a note that we did hold an executive session to discuss various personnel matters before the meeting tonight. At the present time, we're scheduled for a public presentation. I'm gonna turn it over to our solicitor, Ms. Frankowski.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is the time and place that was advertised for the conditional use hearing of NDA Muhlenberg LLC concerning property located at 4450 North 5th Street Highway in Muhlenberg Township, requesting conditional use to use the property as a convenience store and 2 automobile service stations, one of which will be a car wash, pursuant to section 355-24.C6 as set forth in section 355-37.E3 and 4 of the Township zoning ordinance. The property is in a C3 highway commercial zoning district, which is also part of the adaptive reuse and redevelopment overlay district. The applicant is also seeking relief from several sections of the zoning ordinance, which I expect the applicant will go through during this presentation. At this point, Mr. Mooney, would you like to enter your appearance on behalf of the applicant?
Sure, my name is Keith Mooney. I'm here on behalf of NDA Muhlenberg Development LLC. I'm at 2755 Century Boulevard, Waterloo, PA 19610.
Thank you. So just gonna go through a little procedure for any of the public who might be here for this specific hearing tonight. The applicant is gonna have a chance to present its presentation in the form of evidence and testimony. The board can then ask questions of the applicant if it has any. Members of the public, if they choose to do so or want to, will be able to voice their public comment or opinion. And just so everyone's aware, the hearing is being recorded by a court reporter tonight, so anyone who is speaking, I'd ask you to just speak slowly and clearly, try to avoid interrupting each other so that the court reporter can take everything down. Quickly, I'm going to run through how the public can participate if they want to. As I said, you will have the chance to voice your opinion or to make statements related to this application once the applicant is finished with its presentation. If you believe that you have a direct, substantial, and immediate interest in a case, you will have a chance to join this proceeding as an actual party. What that means is that as a party, you're going to have rights that the public doesn't. And that's the ability to ask the applicant questions and to present any testimony or evidence that you might have for yourself. You also would have appellate rights if you disagree with whatever the board decides to do tonight. So with that, I'm going to just get this out of the way. Is there anyone in the public that wants to be joined as a party to this matter tonight? All right, let the record reflect that there is nobody in the public that wants to be joined as a party. Another administrative matter to get out of the way is for the township to introduce its exhibits for the record. And I did provide this to the court reporter prior to the record starting. B1 is the conditional use application submitted to the township by applicant dated November 10th, 2023, as well as addendum A that was submitted in conjunction with the application. Board Exhibit 2 is the notice of the conditional use hearing. Board Exhibit 3 is the proof of publication of the notice of the conditional use hearing. Board Exhibit 4 will be the affidavit of posting of the conditional use hearing. And Board Exhibit 5, which I did not present in full to the court reporter, is the township zoning ordinance, which is a public record and can be found on the township's website. Mr. Mooney, do you have any objections to those exhibits being admitted?
No.
Thank you. All right, so I'm now going to turn the meeting over to the applicant to present the case to the board.
Before I start, I also have pre-marked exhibits and I will hand out packets to the Board of Commissioners. I have 3 witnesses for this evening. I think we probably should just swear them all in one time.
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. A little bit about the project before I get started. Project is located along Fifth Street Highway. It's the old Manor Block 4 property. I think everybody's familiar with it. Right now, there's an automotive repair station currently occupying a portion of the property. What this plan will call for is to locate a Wawa convenience store with associated gas pumps on the same property and a Mr. Car Wash. The property would be subdivided into 3 tracks. So what our proposal is as we've been going through the planning process, we combine the tracks and then redistributed the land for the 3 uses or potential uses. With that, I'll call our first witness, Steve Galazeski. Steve, you've been sworn in already. Do you want her in any particular place so that you can see her, or?
It's up to the board. I'm fine with where she is.
Do you want her at the microphone or do you want her to stay where she is? It's up to you guys.
You might as well come to the microphone so everyone can hear you, please. Thank you.
Sure. Please tell me your last name for me.
Galazeski, G-O-L-A-Z as in zebra, E-S as in Stanley, K-I.
Ms. Galazeski, can you state your business address for the record, please?
956 West Richardson Avenue in Langhorne, Pennsylvania.
And how are you employed?
I am a planning consultant for Newman Development Associates.
And how long have you been so employed?
Approximately 2 years since I retired from local government in New York.
And during the course of your employment with Newman Development Associates, have you become aware as to whether or not Newman Development Associates has entered into agreements of sale with the property owners of 4450 and 4500 North Fifth Street Highway in Muhlenberg Township for the proposed project?
I have.
I'm showing you 3 documents that have been previously marked as exhibits A3, A4, and A5. You recognize those?
Yes,
Are those agreements of sale? And strike that. Is that an agreement of sale between Newman Development Associates and Platinum Partners Realty LLC for the subject matter property
agreements to purchase and sell, yes,
and various amendments there too?
right.
So it's been marked as exhibit A6. Do you recognize that document?
Yes,
Is that a deed conveying several parcels of land to Platinum Partners Realty LLC, including 4500 and 4450 North Fifth Street Highway?
yes,
Is this the deed to the subject matter property?
yes.
What is the relationship between Newman Development Associates and MDA Muhlenberg LLC, the developer on the proposed project?
Newman Development Associates is the managers, the brothers that manage Newman Development Associates are the principals for NDA Muhlenberg. We set up separate LLCs for all of our individual projects, such as the Target and the Chick-fil-A down the road.
And is your company proposing to construct a Wawa food store with associated gas pumps and a car wash at the subject matter location?
Yes,
Have you been involved in the development of Wawa food stores and car washes during the course of your career?
yes,
Do you believe generally that the proposed project at the subject location is not contrary to the public health, safety, morals, and or public welfare?
no,
Given your experience, do you believe that the proposed project does not warrant any additional security measures and will not create a continuous burden on the emergency management services and providers of the township?
with the improvements proposed, I think it's gonna be beneficial to the township.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
Does the board have any questions for the specific witness at this point in time?
I'll call my next witness, Eric Mounts. Mr. Mounts, could you please state your full name and business address for the record?
Eric Mounts, Mountzz as in zebra. Address 1720 Spellman Drive, Suite 260, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
And how are you employed?
I am a regional manager in the Transportation Planning Department at Traffic Planning and Design Inc.
And are you also a professional traffic operations engineer?
Yes, professional traffic operations engineer as well as a registered professional engineer in the state of Pennsylvania.
And could you briefly state your educational background?
I hold a BS in civil engineering from Widener University.
And have you prepared traffic plans, traffic studies, and conducted traffic analysis in connection with subdivision and land development plans for convenience stores, car washes, and other mixed-use developments in the past?
Yes, I have.
Approximately how many?
Over my 20+ year career, probably 200 or 300, if not more.
And have you testified at zoning hearings in your capacity as a professional traffic operations engineer in support of traffic plans and traffic studies that you have prepared?
Yes, I have, including previously within this township.
At this point, I would submit Mr. Mounts as an expert in traffic planning and design.
And based on the testimony, I recommend that the board accept Mr. Mullins as an engineer in traffic planning and design, an expert in traffic planning and design.
Thank you.
Mr. Mounts, did you?
Sorry, let's just let the record reflect that he's been accepted as an expert in this case.
Mr. Mounts, did you prepare the traffic plan and traffic study for the subject matter Wawa food store and Mr. Car Wash and existing automobile repair shop to be located at 4450 North Fifth Street and 4500 North Fifth Street Highway, Muhlenberg Township, Bergen County, Pennsylvania?
That is correct.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit A7, do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
Is that the traffic study that you prepared minus all the appendices that make up about approximately 300 more pages?
That is correct.
And did we submit with the land development plan, the full traffic study with all the appendices and associated 300 pages?
Yes, we did.
In preparing the traffic study, did you come to a conclusion that the project was suitable for this location?
That was the conclusion based upon the recommended roadway improvements outlined in the traffic impact study.
In preparing the traffic plan and traffic study for the proposed mixed-use development, did you review Muhlenberg Township zoning ordinance?
Yes,
Do you believe that the ingress and egress to and from the subject matter site complies with the township zoning ordinance and the applicable PennDOT rules and regulations?
that is my opinion.
In your opinion, does the road system providing access to the proposed project have sufficient capacity to accommodate the project and the increase in traffic attributable to the project?
Yes, again, that is my opinion with the implementation of the roadway improvements outlined in the traffic impact study.
Will the increase in traffic attributable to the project lower the level of service of the applicable roads on any portions thereof or any street intersections below a level of service of C?
It does not lower the intersection level of service for any existing intersections below level service C.
And do you believe that the interior traffic circulation of the project provides adequate, safe, and convenient circulation for users of the facility, visitors to the facility, employees of the facility, and all emergency vehicles?
That is my opinion.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Does the board have any questions for this witness?
No.
Hearing none?
For my final witness, Dr. Seawald, could stand. Mr. Seawald, could you please state your full name and business address for the record?
Certainly, Josh Seawald, SEWALD, from Dynamic Engineering Consultants. Address is 826 Yardley Newtown Road in Newtown, Pennsylvania.
And how are you employed?
By Dynamic Engineering Consultants.
In what capacity?
I'm a principal, a partner at the firm.
And you're a professional engineer?
Yes, I am.
How long have you been a professional engineer?
Since 2016.
And can you briefly state your educational background?
Certainly, I have a bachelor's of science in civil engineering as well as a master's of science in civil engineering. And I've testified before various land use boards on a regular nightly basis since 2016.
And have you prepared subdivision and land development plans for convenience stores, car washes, and other mixed-use developments in the past?
Yes,
Approximately how many subdivision and land development plans have you prepared for such developments?
over 100.
Have you testified at zoning hearings in your capacity as a professional engineer in support of plans that you have prepared?
Yes,
I'd ask that Mr. Seawald be certified as a expert in the area of land development and planning.
I would recommend that the board accepts, Mr. Seawald as an expert.
The board accepts Mr. Theodore.
thank you.
Did you prepare a plan for the subject matter Wawa convenience store with associated gas pumps, car wash, and the existing automotive repair facility to be located at 4450 and 4500 North Fifth Street Highway, Muhlenberg Township, First County, Pennsylvania?
Yes,
Showing which been marked as exhibit A2, do you recognize that?
yes,
Is that a photocopy of the plan that you prepared?
yes,
And we have associated boards that reflect A2 that you'll use later on in your testimony?
absolutely.
In preparing the plan for the proposed mixed-use development, did you review the Muhlenberg Township zoning ordinance?
Yes,
Were you able to determine what zoning district the proposed project is located in?
yes,
Is it in the C3 Highway Commercial Zoning District?
it is.
Is the C3 Highway Commercial Zoning District overlaid by the Adaptive Reuse and Redevelopment Overlay District?
Yes, it is.
Does the applicant desire conditional use approval to utilize the Adaptive Reuse Redevelopment Overlay District pursuant to section 355-24C6 of the zoning ordinance?
Yes, the applicant does.
Would the applicant's utilization of the Adaptive Reuse Redevelopment Overlay District be consistent with the Muhlenberg Township Comprehensive Plan?
Yes, it will.
Would the applicant's utilization of the Adaptive Reuse Redevelopment Overlay District be consistent with the goals, objectives, or policies established within the township zoning ordinance?
Yes,
Would the applicant's utilization of the Adaptive Reuse Redevelopment Overlay District impinge on the minimum and maximum dimensional requirements within the C3 zoning district, except where relief is granted?
except where the relief is granted now.
Would the applicant's utilization of the Adaptive Reuse Redevelopment Overlay District be contrary to public health, safety, morals, and/or public welfare?
No, it will not.
Would the applicant's utilization of the Adaptive Reuse Redevelopment Overlay District have an effect on safe interior traffic circulation for the project, including but not limited to acceleration and deceleration lanes at the proposed entrances to the project?
Yes, it's my professional opinion, the redevelopment of this site will have a positive effect.
Would the traffic circulation be adequate to provide safe and convenient circulation for users of the facility, visitors to the facility, employees of the facility, and all emergency vehicles that may require entrance thereon.
Yes.
With the applicant's utilization of the adaptive reuse redevelopment overlay district have an effect on pedestrian access and internal circulation within the grounds of the facility, and particularly for points of access from the individual uses thereon.
Yes, again, based on the redevelopment of the project, we believe it'll have a positive effect and impact on the site and surrounding areas.
With the applicant's utilization of the adaptive reuse redevelopment overlay district have an effect on screening and buffering between the project and surrounding residential uses and residentially zoned districts.
Yes, due to the redevelopment and reduction of on-site impervious coverage, we believe that will be a positive effect on the buffering and screening around the project.
With the applicant's utilization of the adaptive reuse redevelopment overlay district have an effect on the local fire department's ability to provide adequate fire protection and emergency management services to the project.
No, there'll be no negative impact to it.
With the applicant's utilization of the adaptive reuse redevelopment overlay district have an effect on water storage that is available within the region for firefighting purposes, which shall include but not limited to pumping at all hours at a minimum of 25 pounds per square inch without impairing the use of the water supply for ordinary purposes on the premises, and is in compliance with all applicable governmental regulations.
It is in compliance, will have no negative impact.
With the applicant's utilization of the adaptive reuse redevelopment overlay district warrant any additional security measures, or will it create a continuous burden on the emergency management services and providers?
It will not have any negative impact and will not create an additional burden on emergency management services.
With the applicant's utilization of the adaptive reuse and redevelopment overlay district have an effect on the existing municipal water supply facilities?
Not,
With the applicant's utilization of the adaptive reuse redevelopment overlay district result in increase in surface water runoff and erosion within the property or at the boundaries of the facility as a result of the site improvements as specified under chapter 310 of the code?
no, as discussed, we're reducing on-site impervious coverage by a significant amount, so the runoff will be reduced as well.
Does the adaptive reuse and redevelopment overlay district permit a convenience store with a fueling station as a conditional use in the C3 zoning district?
It does.
Is the proposed Wawa with associated gas pumps a convenience store with fueling stations?
It is.
Can you explain why the applicant is of the belief that the subject matter location is appropriate for a Wawa with associated gas pumps?
Certainly, again, this site is already partially developed. We're looking at redeveloping this site. It has utilities on there. A lot of existing asphalt pavement that we can remove and provide additional buffer and screening. Overall, it is Fifth Street, so it has some existing traffic on site. Gas stations are looking for that pass-by traffic. We believe that it falls within the corridor of your retail development as well as meets the goals of your master plan.
Is the applicant requesting dimensional relief pursuant to the adaptive reuse and redevelopment overlay district in connection with the Wawa with associated gas pumps?
We are, yes.
Is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-24E of the zoning ordinance to permit an impervious surface coverage of 81.2% for the convenience store use, whereas the zoning ordinance permits a maximum impervious coverage of 60%?
Yes, we are.
Can you explain the applicant's request for this relief and how it ties in with the overall project?
Certainly, as you heard from Mr. Moody in his opening, the existing site today is about 7 different tracts of land with a public right of way in the middle of it. We will be consolidating all of those with a future vacation of that roadway. With that consolidation, we are then splitting all of those tracts of land into 3 separate parcels. So even though we are asking for relief on the Wawa parcel to have over 60% impervious coverage, the overall redevelopment and tract of this land will be greatly reducing the on-site impervious coverage. The on-site impervious coverage today between all 7 parcels and the public right of way is in upwards of 66%. With the redevelopment and all approvals, we will bring down the overall impervious coverage to 50.3% approximately. So a significant reduction across the entire site. However, with the subdivision and the Wawa lot specifically, there will be approximately 81% on the Wawa parcel, whereas 60% is required. So the relief is requested and needed for the Wawa, but overall significantly reducing the amount of pavement that's out there today for the entire tract.
Is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-60C2 permit 8 fuel pumps for the convenience store use, whereas the zoning ordinance permits a maximum of 7 fuel pumps.
That's correct.
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting an additional fuel pump?
Certainly, if anyone on the board has been to a Wawa, you'll see their prototypical and new modern canopy style has a stacked canopy. That purpose of the stacked canopy is to have 2 cars stacking on the fuel islands. The one on 61 is actually a single fuel island canopy. But if you've been to some of their other more modern stores, you see the double stack canopy. A similar one that you have right now is actually a sheets. What that allows to provide is a more compact footprint instead of a long parallel footprint. So even though the ordinance contemplates possibly 7 pumps, the footprint of that canopy where my pumps are going to go is shorter, but I can then double stack it. So this property, which you'll see shortly on an exhibit, is more, it has more depth than it has length along our state highway. So we're looking at doing a double stack canopy of 8 fueling pumps instead of 7, which is an odd number. Really, you'd have to have that parallel stacking of the pumps. Otherwise, you'd have an L-shaped canopy. So overall, Wawa knows its operations, and in order to have safe and efficient maneuverability around the canopy in conjunction with this convenience store, it needs to have an even stack of pumps.
Is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-60C5 to permit a fuel canopy in excess of 7,000 square feet, which is the maximum permitted size under the zoning ordinance?
Yes, we are.
Is the proposed canopy 7,150 square feet?
Yes, it is.
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting a fuel canopy that is 150 feet larger than that which the ordinance permits?
Certainly, and we believe it's a de minimis increase from the underlying 7,000 square foot. Essentially, it's just more canopy area to cover the cars and inclement weather and the patrons that are underneath the canopy area.
Is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-98A2 to permit a retaining wall to be greater than 6 feet in height?
We are.
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting a retaining wall higher than 6 feet and explain the proposed height as shown on the plan?
Certainly. If you're familiar with the site and the existing auto dealership that's out there today, you'll notice that there's some significant topographic conditions on the property. Starting on the southern side, sharing with our neighbor, we drop in grade as we head towards Water Street about 18 feet. Additionally, near Water Street is that stream that has a certain floodplain with it. So our development is being compressed to the southern side property line. Because of that, we like to develop our sites with flat areas. While I will then have a flat pad grading out for the parking areas to have safe and less grading. Same thing, we're gonna step down towards the Mr. Car Wash. We're gonna have a flat pad for the car wash, which leaves us with not a lot of room for making up that 18 feet of grade differential. If you've been on the existing site today, you see some drive aisles have that really big sloping topography. Right up along the front of 5th Street Highway, the existing car dealership parking lot drops really quick right along the roadway. So in order to make this a modernized and more standard new development, we need to make up those grades along the site. Your ordinance contemplates a maximum of 6 feet. We need approximately 8 to 9 feet along that southern aisle of a retaining wall. There'll be no negative impact to us nor our neighbor, but in order for us to compress the development near that southern side property line and avoid any disturbance to the existing floodplain, we need that slightly taller retaining wall height.
Josh, this might be a good time to break out the plan, just to finish my thing.
So, this is site plan rendering, colored for presentation purposes. It's the same exact plan that.
Do you mind bringing that up just a little further so the board can see it? If that's too far away for everybody to put eyes on it.
Everyone on the board, see it?
And can you, Steve O'Hare, can you explain where the runoff is going to be going? Where Wawa is, where's the runoff?
Absolutely. So let me orient the board to this site plan. So this is the site plan that was presented to the planning commission as well as part of the conditional use application. It was colored for tonight's presentation. The orientation of the board, so the right side of the board is to the north, the left side of the board is to the south. We have Fifth Street Highway running in that north-south direction, and then we have Water Street running that east-west direction. The Wawa is located near the southern side property line. We have our driveway separating the Wawa and the Mr. Car Wash lot. And then we have another access way that circulates between both with the existing auto repair facility in the rear. Just to give, I know there's some members in here from the planning commission that have seen this a few times, but just to give the rest of the board some orientation. So in referencing the last question from Mr. Mooney is the retaining wall height. We have a restriction of 6 feet. We're looking for an 8 to 9 foot on a small portion of the retaining wall on the southern side property line. As you are all well aware, there's a stream located on Water Street and there's a floodplain associated with that. If you can see it, there's a blue line that bisects the property. That's the 100-year floodplain. So as you can see, even though the tract of land is a decent size, there's a nice swath of area that we want to provide minimal impact to. So what that does is it compresses the development to the southern side property line. So your question, sir, was where does the water go from the Wawa? Everything is collected on site through a conveyance system. Then it is piped down to the Mr. Car Wash, and then further piped out to what's called a level spreader. Essentially, it's a pipe that ends with a bunch of gravel and it slowly trickles overland back towards the stream. We have our NPDES permit, which means Conservation District has reviewed and approved it. We've been through significant technical and engineering reviews with the Planning Commission's engineer. We're confident that with the reduction of overall impervious coverage, it's actually a net benefit with less stormwater going to the stream now.
No way to improve it,
Improve the runoff.
less, well,
With reduction of significant impervious coverage, you're improving water quality, you're promoting more water to go back into the groundwater table. It is a significant improvement because you have more grass area and less paving on the site.
Is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-120 to permit a freestanding sign containing a total area of 141.2 square feet, whereas the maximum freestanding sign area of 80 square feet is permitted by the zoning ordinance?
Yes,
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting a freestanding sign in excess of the square footage permitted by the zoning ordinance?
certainly. And Mr. Mooney's question right now is specifically reference to the ID sign for the Wawa. So we're seeking a larger Wawa sign so that it's not only the Wawa logo, but actually have the price points associated with the various products that they provide for the different fuel that they have at their canopy. Overall, like we mentioned, there is about 18 feet of grade change across the site. So when you are traveling in certain directions, in order for you to be able to safely identify what is now a pretty significant new driveway configuration, as well as some of the roadway improvements, we want you to be able to see the sign from a further distance, slow down, make your way maybe towards the centralized drive aisle, and then have that safe maneuver into the site.
And is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-120 to permit a freestanding sign with a height of 30 feet, whereas the maximum freestanding sign height under the zoning ordinance is 20 feet?
That's correct.
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting a freestanding sign, the height in excess of that permitted by the zoning ordinance?
Certainly, and similar testimony, the reason why the sign is bigger on the previous request was for safe identification. It's the same thing with the taller height. The ordinance asks for 20 feet. We have about 18 feet of grade change across the site. We're looking for slightly taller so that when you're coming in a different direction, you'll be able to recognize that sign and it won't be blocked by your sight line.
Excuse me, sir, can you point out on the plan, please, the placement of the sign?
Certainly, the ID sign for the Wawa is located in this gray box, which will be located to the south of the new full movement driveway. So right at the corner of the Wawa pad area.
And which release sign is that? Is that the 30-foot sign?
That will be the 30-foot sign, correct, with 41 square feet.
Thank you.
Is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-120 to permit a directional sign area of 6.25 square feet, where the maximum directional signage area under the zoning ordinance is 6 square feet?
Yes.
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting that it be permitted to erect dimensional signage in excess of that permitted by the zoning ordinance?
Certainly, we believe it's a de minimis increase overall. Wawa has their directional signage located at the entrance drives that is now shared with this kind of full movement boulevard in between these two pay areas. That as you're maneuvering your way around the Wawa, we want to ensure that everyone has those directional signs to show that you have two-way traffic. Sometimes on a facility, you may only have one-way traffic. So Wawa likes when we're working at a site that is new to the area and it has different movements along the frontages, you can direct the traffic accordingly. It helps with on-site safety and circulation. So the extra 0.25 square feet, I don't think you'll be able to tell the difference as you're driving around, but overall won't have a negative impact to what their signage package will be.
With respect to the proposed Wawa, is Wawa requesting relief from section 355-115 of the zoning ordinance that requires an access drive to have a minimum setback of 15 feet.
Yes,
Are we proposing an access drive with a setback of 0 feet? Can you identify the proposed access drive in the plan?
we are. So the zoning ordinance contemplates a 15-foot setback. The applicant is requesting a 0 foot. But if you take a look at the overall plan, the 0 foot is really an blind location of a property boundary area. Wawa wants to be able to maintain the main drive aisle coming off of the PennDOT roadway. So what they had us do when we were potentially consolidating the entire property and in negotiations with Mr. Carwash and the existing facility in the back, Wawa said we would like to make sure that this driveway is always plowed, maintained, has great mill and overlay, and has good striping along with it. So we put this subdivision line that follows the Wawa pad area. So as you can see, this red line, which outlines the subdivision area, is right at the edge of the curbing, so there's a 0 foot setback. In reality, though, should this be approved and be constructed, as you drive into this driveway, there are grass islands on both sides. So it's still meeting the design intent where you don't want a driveway right on your properties, on your neighbor's property line. It's more of a configuration for property maintenance. So we are seeking that 0 foot setback, but as you can see, there are grass areas on both sides of this main drive aisle. We won't be able to tell to the naked eye whether it's 0, 12, or 15.
In other words, Wawa as the anchor store of this tract would like to maintain ownership of the entire.
Driveway, correct.
Correct. And the access drive is an external shared access drive as well, correct?
That is correct.
In the event the relief is granted from the setback requiring this access drive, do you perceive any hazards or nuisances being caused by the granting of the relief?
Not at all.
This might be a good time if the board has any questions with regard to the Wawa tract, because I'm going to start shifting the testimony to the relief that we're requesting with Mr. Carwash. So this might be a good segue if you have questions regarding the Wawa and the testimony that was just given to ask those questions.
Yeah, I have two questions regarding the freestanding sign for the Wawa. You mentioned 140, I believe, square feet.
Yes.
What's a typical Wawa? Is that their standard? Is this larger than their standard for the other Wawa stores?
They don't have one standard sign. They have a wide range of sign packages depending on site location. A lot of times it's driven by existing topographic conditions. Are they near a freeway? Are they in a residential neighborhood? So depending on their location and its surrounding uses, they will then determine what they're looking for. For example, sir, I was up in Scranton, Pennsylvania a few months ago, right next to I-81, and they had a 100-foot tall sign, making sure that they knew the interchange was nearby. We've also done other sites that looks like it's right at the corner pad of a huge entrance to a residential neighborhood, and it's a little bit lower with smaller signs. So based on the fact that this is a commercial retail quarter, they're looking at all the other retail tenants up and down. And with the 18 feet of grade change across the site frontage, they're looking for that slightly larger sign and taller. So you can see it coming up and down North Fifth Street Highway.
Do you know how that site that's proposed here compares to the one that's at the Wawa at 6-1? How many square feet is that one?
I don't, sir. I'm sorry. I was not the engineer of record on that plan site. And it helps. We do have it.
Yeah.
So this exhibit comes right out of the land development drawings, obviously just colored for tonight's presentation purposes. So it's specifically sheet 28 of 45, and right here in the center, you can see that, that wildlife bird typical sign where they have the logo and the goose on top, and then pricing for the 3 products that they'll have in the facility.
So just a question, in your opinion, that the relief you need from these signs being larger than what's are you asking for relief for will not provide any sight problems coming and leaving the facility? As you're leaving the facility, to be able to see directionally if you're going the opposite way. Does that make sense?
Are we talking about the ID sign or the directional signs?
The ID sign.
So leaving the facility, I don't believe the ID sign will
That's
necessarily.
that corner, right? You said.
Correct, it's over here, so we have a right turnout only driveway, even, you don't necessarily need that tall of a sign, but as you're traveling, north and south on Fifth Street Highway, it's my professional opinion that you want a taller, slightly larger sign, so that you can make that safe maneuver into what is a brand new driveway. What's out there today is really the centralized portion of that car dealership, and our neighbor across the way has a skinnier driveway. This will now have dedicated lanes for in and out. So in order for you to slow down, come to the center, and then make that left, which is probably the critical movement, you want to be able to see that taller sign coming down.
Thank you.
Certainly.
And Mr. Sewell, right now, the property does not have any demarcation of the driveway, is that correct?
That's correct. There's one existing edge of pavement that meets the property right into the roadway.
To answer your question, were you getting at whether it's gonna cause sight distance issues for drivers, not being able to see
Yeah,
anything coming
coming out.
the other way?
Because he explained, I think the road, turn at the other end of the property.
Maybe I can rephrase the question, this might help, Jeff. Do you believe that it has any impact on the clear sight triangles coming into or out of the property?
Not at all. It's set back much further behind the stop bar. So as you come up to your stop bar, that sign's gonna be located behind you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I speak half engineer.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the board about, well, I guess that's lot A or the Wawa parcel at this point?
Mr. Sewell, turning your attention to the Mr. Car Wash. Is the applicant requesting, conditional use approval to locate the Mr. Car Wash at the subject matter property as an automobile service station?
Yes,
And under the zoning ordinance, does a car wash qualify as an automobile service station?
yes,
And with respect to the proposed car wash, is Mr. Car Wash asking relief from section 355-115 of the zoning ordinance, which requires an access drive to have a minimum setback of 15 feet?
yes,
Are we proposing an access drive with an 11-foot setback?
we are.
And are we proposing such access drive in order to minimize the impacts of the 100-year floodplain and maintain the existing on-site flood storage?
We are. As we just discussed a few moments ago on the Wawa. It's the same standard. You're looking for 15 feet on each, or we're each other's neighbor here. So for the Wawa track, we're seeking a 0-foot setback for that drive aisle. We then give it an 11-foot grass buffer to our own track, which is now we're focused on Mr. Car Wash. The reason we did not go the additional 4 feet is because of that floodplain. If you take a look at existing conditions, a lot of that existing parking lot from the car dealership is in that floodplain. As we redevelop the site and the concerns that came from your planning commission and other members, take as much development out of the floodplain as possible. So we've decided to push the car wash towards our neighbor Wawa. So instead of having 15 feet, we have approximately 11.4. We're asking for a deviation of about 3.5 to 4 feet so that we can put as much grass area and undeveloped area near the floodplain and compress it. I still believe that it will have an aesthetically pleasing look. So as you enter into that driveway and make your way to either the Mr. Car Wash or the Wawa, there's still have grass on both sides. It'll be 11.5 instead of 15, but that extra 3.5 feet will benefit us when we're developing next to that floodplain.
And in your opinion, does the location of the access driveway permit for ingress and egress to the property as you testified was strike all that? In your opinion, does the location of this access driveway pose any additional hazard to pedestrians or vehicular traffic that if it were located in conformity with the zoning?
No negative impact at all.
Is the applicant requesting relief from and again, this would be connection with Mr. Carwash, is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-120 to permit a freestanding sign containing a total area of 98 square feet, where the zoning ordinance permits a maximum freestanding sign of 80 square feet?
We are.
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting a freestanding sign in excess of that permitted by the zoning ordinance?
Certainly, and it's similar testimony when we were focused on the Wawa. So now focusing on the Mr. Car Wash, we have that ID sign located on the car wash pad, right on the front of the Fifth Street Highway. The ordinance calls for 80 square feet. We are seeking approximately, just to reiterate one more time, 98 square feet. It is lower on site, so Mr. Car Wash does not need that much larger of a sign because the topo drops as you get towards Water Street. Really, they have a one entrance only sign before you get to the car wash, and then you have that full movement that we're proposing. So overall, we believe that we're seeking a slightly larger sign in order to accommodate those safe vehicle maneuvers into our pad area. Not as large as the Wawa. Wawa has a larger pad and it's much higher up on the hill. Mr. Car Wash is lower down, so it can be a little bit smaller. We have referencing sheet 29 of the land development drawings, and in the top left corner of there, you'll see the actual Mr. Car Wash ID sign.
And is Mr. Car Wash requesting relief from section 355-120 to permit a freestanding sign with a height of 25 feet, whereas the maximum freestanding sign height under the zoning ordinance is 20 feet?
They are.
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting a freestanding sign with a height in excess of that permitted by the zoning ordinance?
Certainly, same testimony you've heard a few times now this evening. Due to topographic changes, looking for a slightly taller sign so they can safely identify the pad and make their maneuver into the driveways.
Mr. Car Wash requesting relief from section 355-120 to permit a directional sign area of 12 square feet, where the maximum directional sign area is 6 square feet.
Yes,
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting that it be permitted to erect dimensional signage in excess of that permitted by the zoning ordinance?
certainly. In working with the Mr. Car Wash operations, as you can see for reference of Wawa neighbor, Wawa is a traditional commercial retail pad. Has two-way traffic that circulates around the building. Even if you make the wrong turn, you can still circulate fully around. The car wash layout, due to this express and the express tube that it has, is more unique. It is going in the counterclockwise fashion and more of a one-way maneuver. They want a larger directional sign package on site so that you can safely get into the area that they want you to be in. It's not that if you ended up in the vacuum space area that you could not then maneuver back out and get to the access out. You certainly can. So the site design is still safe and efficient. However, when you are coming onto the property, they want you to focus on where that drive-through lane entrance will be, which is located to the south of the building. That's why they're asking for larger on-site directional signage due to the unique configuration of what that car wash is. Whereas any other type of retailer, whether it's a big box store or a small retailer like Wawa, you have that two-way circulation around. The impact of the drive-through signage is less impactful when you have a unique site design like a car wash.
According to Mr. Car Wash, is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-120 to permit walls, permit a cumulative wall sign area of 610.65 square feet for the property, where the zoning ordinance permits a maximum cumulative wall sign area of 300 square feet?
Yes, they are.
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting that it be permitted a cumulative wall signage in excess of that permitted by the zoning ordinance?
Certainly, Mr. Car Wash essentially believes that it has multiple front facade areas. There's really no back door area. On the southern side, is where the main entrance is for your cars to make sure you get to the point of sale. The eastern facade, the short wall is facing Fifth Street. That's their facade facing the roadway. And then on the northern side, that is another second facade as you're traveling on Fifth Street. And then, of course, the entrance, the exit tunnel is located to the west. Overall, if you take a look at the total square footage of the facades, height of the building, length of the building, you're looking at an average of 4 to 9% of facade area. So although the signage for the cumulative wall signs sound like a lot compared to what your ordinance is, the overall percentage of the area on the building will be about that 4 to 9%. So we still believe that it will not have a negative impact for surrounding motorists or on-site. It's not going to feel oversigned. It's just the fact that it's a slightly smaller building, and we're looking at a unique configuration in the location of Mr. Car Wash.
And that is my last question with regard to relief associated with Mr. Car Wash property. So this might be a good time if the board would like to ask any questions with regard to Mr. Car Wash site.
Nobody has any questions regarding that lot?
Is the applicant requesting dimensional relief in connection with the existing automobile service station located upon lot C of the plan?
Yes,
Is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-2040 of the zoning ordinance to permit lot C to have 0 feet of lot frontage and take access via a permanent access easement?
yes,
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting that lot C have no street frontage as required by the zoning ordinance and how it is accommodated in the plan?
certainly. As you heard earlier in my testimony, the multiple parcels and public future vacated right away is going to be consolidated. And then with our 2 retail pads up front, we will have a centralized driveway coming off of Fifth Street. There will be a permanent access agreement so that the rear tractor plan always has access for full move to come out to Fifth Street. The reason we are seeking the zoning relief of having 0 lot frontage is it's going to operate the same as should this have been a private roadway or a public right of way. So even though we are seeking the relief from this board through the conditional use and adaptive overlay, it will still function the same. We're talking about technicality, whether it's public or private. This piece of property, who is selling to our applicant, of course, wants to make sure that they have access to this. So we're not creating a landlocked property that can never be developed. We have an existing tenant out there today, also the current property owner selling to NDA Muhlenberg LLC. They will provide a permanent access agreement so that anyone looking to enter the back parcel on lot C will be able to do so through our driveway on Fifth Street Highway.
If I can just ask you a couple follow questions.
Please.
Currently, that lot, that what we're proposing as lot C is being served by a portion of Darby Avenue and Western Avenue, correct?
That is correct.
And those portions of Darby Avenue and Western Avenue don't service any other property other than the Man About Ford property, do they?
That is correct.
So it's the applicant's proposal to take the responsibility for Darby Avenue and Western Avenue off the hands of the township and turn it into a private drive.
That's correct.
Is the applicant requesting relief from section 355-115R to permit lot C to have less than the required parking spaces for an automobile service station?
Yes,
Can you explain why the applicant is requesting that lot C have less parking spaces than those required by the zoning ordinance?
certainly. If you've been out to the site, driven up Upper Darby Avenue and driven on that back path, you'll see that there's really not any delineated parking spaces with the existing facility. So we are seeking a relief from the ordinance. However, with the redevelopment of this property, the removal of a building that is currently located on the property as well, and then creating an actual parking area, we believe that we're improving the on-site parking condition today. So out there today is 2 structures and a bunch of pavement. We'll be knocking down one of those 2 structures and actually creating a delineated parking space. So your parking ordinance contemplates a certain amount of parking. We have worked with the operator and the seller of the property. We believe that 8 parking spaces is more than enough for their operation out there today. They have bays where the car actually goes into to get service, and then once it's done, it will maybe temporarily wait in the 8 spaces for the customer to pick it up. So overall, it's a very unique and custom facility. We're seeking the relief because the fact is we are modifying that area, and we believe that we're improving it with the reduction of one building and creating an actual delineated parking area.
The applicant submitted to the township during the planning process. And, sorry, again, that's all the relief we're requesting with regard to lot C, correct?
That is correct.
I don't know if the board has any specific questions regarding lot C before I go into the general conditions for, conditional use requirements. No. The applicant submitted to the township during the planning process a preliminary utility plan, a landscaping plan, a grading plan, architectural renderings of the proposed elevation and plan views, a preliminary lighting plan, traffic impact study, and an environmental impact assessment report.
Yes, we have.
Ask you to take a look at what you marked as exhibit A8. Is that the environmental impact assessment report that you provided for this project?
Yes, it is.
And did you perceive any negative environmental impact assessments with this report?
We certainly did not, as you heard throughout testimony this evening, with the redevelopment of this property, we're reducing on-site impervious coverage, which improves the stormwater management facility. As you can see from the site plan rendering, there's a lot more green space and trees and landscaping than what's currently out there today. And with the reduction of on-site impervious coverage, there will be less stormwater runoff to our associated floodplain on Water Street. Addition to that, because of Wawa and their very high corporate standard requirements, we were required to do a phase 1 environmental site assessment, a phase 2 limited site investigation, and any type of contamination that may be associated with the former uses of site will have to be remediated in accordance with PADP standards in order to create a baseline so that there will not be a contaminated property further. So overall, it is my professional opinion that with the redevelopment of this existing property and the amount of impervious coverage that's there will be a cleaner site that has less runoff and more green space associated with district housing.
Has the applicant received a recommendation for conditional preliminary plan approval of the subject matter subdivision and land development plan for which the various plans, reports, and studies were submitted in support?
Yes, this past Wednesday we did.
Did you review Muhlenberg Township comprehensive plan?
I did, yes,
Do you believe the proposed project is consistent with the Muhlenberg Township comprehensive plan?
absolutely.
Do you believe the property is suitable for the use desired and the proposed use is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies established within the zoning ordinance?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe that the proposed project at the subject location is not contrary to the public health, safety, morals, and public welfare?
Yes,
Do you believe that the proposed project provides safe and convenient pedestrian access and internal circulation within the grounds of the facility, and particularly for points of access from the individual uses to the property?
yes, I do.
Do you believe that the proposed project provides adequate screening and buffering provided between, strike that. You believe that the proposed project provides adequate screening and buffering between the project and surrounding residential uses and residentially zoned districts to screen the facility from view and preclude any glare from lighting or noise being ascertainable beyond the boundaries of the project?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe the local fire departments have the ability to provide adequate fire protection and emergency management services to the project?
Yes, absolutely.
Was the plan submitted to the fire marshal for review and comment? Did the fire marshal give a stamp of approval to the plan?
I do believe we have the fire marshal's stamp of approval. One of his final requests was the fire hydrant up along the roadway, and we'll be providing that.
You believe that there is adequate water storage available within the region for firefighting purposes, which shall include but not be limited to pumping at all hours at a minimum of 25 pounds per square inch without impairing the use of the water supply for ordinary purposes on the premises, and is in compliance with all applicable governmental regulations?
Yes, I do.
Does the project intend to utilize the municipal water source provided by Muhlenberg Township Municipal Authority?
Yes, it does.
Have there been discussions with the municipal authority regarding water?
Yes, we have.
Does the project intend to utilize the municipal sanitary sewer system provided by the Muhlenberg Township Municipal Authority? And have there been discussions regarding that as well with the authority?
Yes, it does, and yes, we have.
Do you believe the existing municipal water supply facilities have sufficient capacity for the project?
I do, yes.
Will the project result in an increase in surface water runoff and erosion within the property or at the boundaries of the facility as a result of the site improvements as specified under chapter 128 of the code?
Correct, there will not be an increase in surface water runoff due to the reduction in impervious coverage.
And I am going to skip my final question because I believe you have already provided an overview and explanation of the stormwater management system.
I believe so as well.
But with that, I have no further questions for this witness.
Are there any other questions from the board for this witness? Do you guys do a noise study at all for this or? No, okay. All right, Mr. Mooney, do you have any other witnesses that you
I
want
have
to?
no other witnesses. I would ask that my exhibit packet be accepted in evidence. I believe we provided testimony with regard to all the exhibits. And I believe my exhibit 1 was your exhibit 1, which was our application and.
That's correct. Does the board have an issue with admitting all of Mr. Mooney's exhibits? I would recommend that they be admitted. Okay, your exhibits are admitted, Mr. Mooney.
Thank you.
I know that there's no one in the public who wanted to become a party to this action. Is there anyone from the public who wants to make any sort of public comment on the application or the project?
Hi, Tracy Rhodes, 1311 Rising Sun Avenue. Very personal question, only because I didn't understand all the jargon. You mentioned the floodplain. Is any part of this in the floodway?
No.
That's all I needed to know. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other public comment from anyone in the audience? All right, hearing none, we're gonna close testimony for this hearing, and then at this point, I'm gonna ask the board whether you'd like to recess and deliberate privately, in accordance with the Sunshine Act, or whether the board wants to make any sort of motion with maybe some conditions and recommendations.
Mr. President, I'd like to adjourn to executive session. I do have a question for council, specifically regarding approval, the approval process on some of these, or some of these relief requests, to make sure that this is sitting before the proper order.
Okay, thank you, Marcy. For the minutes, if you could note that the board recessed to executive session at 7:04 p.m. We'll return as soon as we can. Thanks, Will.
And we'll go off the record at this point.
All right, we'll reconvene the meeting at 7:19 PM on Monday, December 18th. I'll turn it back over to our solicitor for any last comments and make the recommended motion for the Board of Commissioners.
All right, Mr. Mooney, just one point. I think at the planning commission meetings, the applicant had agreed that they would clean up and maintain the floodplains and floodway and the riparian buffers on the Mr. parcel. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay, so you would be agreeable to that being a condition of the approval?
Yes, I think there was some trash that's already on the site and things of that nature that was discussed, and we said we can clean it up.
Okay, great. All right, then do I hear a motion to grant conditional use approval for an adaptive reuse and redevelopment project and conditional use approval of the drive-through establishment for the proposed NDA Muhlenberg LLC project located at 4450 North Fifth Street Highway, conditioned upon the following. The applicant will comply with all testimony, exhibits, and plans provided at this hearing. The applicant will comply with all requirements and regulations of the township zoning ordinance, as well as all federal, state, and local laws, rules, and regulations. The applicant will apply for and maintain any and all necessary federal, state, or local permits required. The applicant may not expand, alter, or otherwise change the use of the property without all applicable approvals and permits and obtaining the required relief from either this board, the planning commission, or the zoning hearing board. Failure to comply with any of these conditions may result, strike that. The applicant agrees to clean up and maintain the floodplains, floodway, and riparian buffers on the parcels during their use of the parcels and ownership of the parcels. And the applicant will comply with the most recent review letter drafted by Systems Design Engineering, dated December 8th, 2023. And failure to comply with any of these conditions may result in revocation of the relief granted, and the terms and conditions of this decision are binding upon successors in interest to the land.
So moved. Second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Thank you for your time this evening, appreciate it.
Thank you. At this point, we can go off the record and testimony will be closed and we can get to the regular meeting of the board.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelsey, for handling that for us. The next portion of the public meeting would be the public portion, the time for residents and taxpayers to comment on matters of concern and action through deliberations which may be before the Board of Commissioners. We're gonna check who was signed in first. First, gentleman signed in, please come to the microphone, is Paul Thomas, 1105 Pepperton Road.
Good evening. How you guys doing? The reason I'm up here is I want to talk about the deer kill at the rec center, Riverside Basin, I guess it's called. Question I would have is, why was there not more of a widespread notice to all residents of the township? I mean, I just found out about it because I was back there. I go back there every day for probably the last 15 or 20 years, and one of the residents was there. They made, oh, no, you're having a deer kill there. I'm like, no, I knew nothing about it. So I guess you guys have been working on this since October, November, and it was voted on. I didn't know anything about it, so obviously I'm adamantly opposed to it. Can you tell me why there wasn't any widespread notice, like, for the whole township, not just a select few, it seems like?
We advertise, as I told you on the phone, Mr. Thomas, we advertise via our website. We do not use social media outlets because of the management that comes with that. And so within our website are the minutes and agendas of all public meetings. And that's where the information is made available to the public.
Yeah, I think it would be advantageous for everyone in the township to know, so maybe they would be possibly against this, and they would voice their opinion, because, I mean, how do you know? I'm not on social media, so how would I even know that?
You would visit our website. If you're not on social media, then you would have never seen it.
Right.
We didn't post it on social media.
Right,
It's on our website via our agendas and minutes. So the agenda that's published for tonight's meeting and that was published for the November meeting is published the Friday before the meeting.
right. And I know the idea is to have hundreds in there with licenses. I mean, how many do you have now? I know we've talked on the phone, but just so it's stated publicly, how many actual hunters are gonna be in there?
We had 14 applications. We received 14 applications from people that were interested. At this point in time, I believe that we've qualified 8 or 9 total. So there are 4 zones within the Riverside Basin that have been defined, and there won't be any more than 2 hunters at a time in each zone.
And say we talked today, there's about, say, I heard like 40 in there. How many, I mean, you trying to get to a certain number, or what's the end goal here?
Our goal for the first year was to reduce the population by 10.
Okay. And so must this be approved each year?
Yeah, Mr. Jones, we started this off as a pilot program, and it's been talked about for years. Quite honestly, as you know, we have hunting in other areas of the township right now. The Irish Mountain up that way, we do have hunters. Here we were concerned about some disease, let alone some excessive deer counts based on work from Commissioner Wolfinger and our township manager. So we believed it was a bit of a safety concern to take matters into our own hands as safely as possible. But just like anything else, to answer your question, all of our agendas and everything we're doing is always put on our website. Agendas available the Friday before our meeting. So every topic that we cover, obviously we can't blast out to every single resident, but this has been discussed for many, many years. And we don't know if it's gonna do the ultimate goal, which we believe is gonna make that area of our community a little safer. I'm not an expert at it. Commissioner Wolfinger and Mr. Bovick are probably more so. But the reason I think unanimously the board supported it, because we did realize we do have a bit of a problem that can turn into an even larger problem if we do something to thin out the herd and control it. Because right now, honestly, Mr. Thomas, we're concerned that we may have parties in there that aren't going through the appropriate process that we've now put in place. So,
Yeah, I'm sure that's happening already. I already see them there.
yeah, sure. But I'll turn it over. Commissioner Wolfinger put a lot of work into it. He can probably answer some more of your direct questions. So,
Paul, I've been watching the herd grow in the last 3 years. I'm not talking about the herd out in Tucker area. This is the one in the basin.
Yeah.
That 150 acres, the land there is very poor in quality. The Game Commission recommends 8 acres per deer. There's 150 acres there, but it could be, if it's poor land, 15 acres per deer. The problem is, in the last couple of years, we've been getting deer coming out all the way to Hain Avenue because there isn't enough food there. They go back to the basin for protection, but I counted 25 in one herd. Half those deer are females. The average doe has 1.5 babies.
Correct.
They either have singles, doubles, or triples. So next year, that 25 herd is 40. Now, we have Steve over there, sold 27 on the other side of the basin area. I have friends that sold them also. I saw 15 doe last Sunday morning on Bellevue Avenue, just running around looking for food. I'm not interested in killing deer over at Dietrich Park or any other place. I'm looking at 10 just to kind of control it. I love seeing the deer. I don't hunt, And I hear on the websites, oh, this is something going on here, not that way.
Is there any,
We
a
would
question I would have, is there any deer that have a wasting disease? Is there any,
I've got one in my backyard that had wasting disease.
how do you know that?
Well, it looked like it was like 50 pounds, it was thin, it came right up to my door.
Okay, I mean, I've seen fox back there that.
I have pictures of it, and, you know, and I'm not a killer. You would have laughed at me this morning after the rain, I'm in the street picking up worms and throwing them on the grass. I'm sure my neighbors are gonna show up there.
Okay.
I don't kill things. What I see here is something that we have to control. I wanna see deer in the township. I just don't wanna see 100 deer in the township. Because what's gonna happen is, you know, last week there was one killed River Road exit on the bypass. They're just looking for food. You can't blame them. And a lot of you gotta blame the drivers, they're driving too fast. You know, the other night, I came back from a fire meeting, and there were 8 deer at the intersection of Lycee Bridge and Elm Avenue, just feet off the road.
Yeah, I mean-
Lasota's sister almost hit 4 the other day. You know, there's gotta be some control. We looked at other ways of controlling them. You know, in the city of Reading, they hire sharpshooters to come in, the silencers, and shoot them. There's a controlled hunt up in the mountain. The game commission, and you might not agree with hunting, I don't hunt, but there's a million hunters out there. And they take half the herd in the Commonwealth, but next year, the herd is back again because they're so prolific. So I brought it to a head, don't throw stones at these people. I live in that area of the township, and I see so many deer, they get on my deck to eat the bird feed, you know, and they're just looking for food because there isn't enough food in the
I
basement.
mean, there's other options besides going, though. There's things as sterilization.
Yeah,
That can be done.
do you know what that costs?
No, I don't know, but sometimes you gotta compromise.
Well, I'll tell you how much it costs, we looked into it.
Even a better idea would be sterilizing the males. They can still function and, you know, go through all of what they gotta go through. But then there's no more fawns, and there's a lot less male than there are female.
Yeah, I think the city charges, these guys come in and they shoot at $600 a deer. The sterilization takes 2 shots, lasts for 2 years, and it's not 100%. And I think what did it cost, $500 a deer or something, Jim?
For the contraceptive shot,
Yes.
I think it was
I
substantial.
mean, for males, you're gonna need that much. It would be a better idea than actually killing them. Just from my point of view.
Next question, Mr. Thompson, for the record.
Yes.
Well, you stated you were close to, but you didn't state why.
Oh, because I don't think there's a real problem anywhere that I see. I mean, I don't know about the numbers. Wasn't aware, somebody said there's wasting disease. He said he saw one. But I'm there all the time, all over the place in there with my dogs. And I don't ever see any that really have any kind of wasting disease. They all look pretty healthy to me. But if you tell me there's too many, I guess, if you're gonna do like minimize it, if you're gonna eliminate some, why not try sterilization? Why not compromise a little bit? Instead of just saying, we're gonna go out there and hunt, and there's really no limit to this. There has to be a limit even if you're gonna do it. Like, if you would say, okay, we gotta take at least 5 out. But I think the male sterilization, if you look into the studies done, it works out very well. But it costs more. I mean, you also have to catch them, tag them, DNA, there's a little bit involved to it. But, then the males are sterilized, so the fawns aren't gonna come as much. Obviously.
I just wasn't concerned. I didn't hear what your concern was.
Yeah, that's my concern, and I really, I'm more for animals than anything, so that's part of it, yes. My whole family's, they're hunters. They wanna hunt, that's fine, but I can see if there's an issue where it's overcrowded, you're not getting enough food. If you have to do it, just keep the numbers down as much as you can.
Safety is the big issue here for me, and that's why this thing, we don't want 50 hunters in there and we're talking about December 26th to January 23rd max, and no Sundays. So, you know, this thing here is a trial to see how things go. Safety's the my major concern.
Can you compromise and at least on how many you're gonna eliminate?
Well, there's
Somehow.
just by the numbers, you can't,
And you said there's 40 there, how many do you need eliminated?
no, a license lets you take 1 year. There's only 12 people or 4.
I understand that, but do you even need that many? Do you need double figures? Why not 5? I mean, is there any compromise there?
At this point, we, because of safety purposes, we vet all the hunters. We made sure they're good shots. We take them out. They put all their arrows within this distance in 30 yards. So it's, you know, everything has been done to basically make it a clean kill and to make sure we have people that are gonna abide by rules, protect our residents or citizens, and not have everybody get hurt. And I think that's a compromise. Other areas, they go out and they kill them all. We don't want to.
It's not like much of a compromise. Like I'm saying, lower the numbers, you're saying not happening.
I don't think 10 is a big number.
So the option is with the money, it's too expensive. I mean, you're just talking like $5,000. We're gonna sterilize the male. We talked about $500 a piece.
$5,000 a piece?
No, 500. How much, what are the figures on how much it costs to?
Surgical sterilization costs, an estimated $1,800 per deer. Immunocontraceptives, is the highest unit cost at approximately $5,000 per deer.
Per deer.
Yeah.
At about an 80% success rate.
If they receive 2 doses, it would have an 86% efficacy rate, correct? And to answer a previous question that I don't think was answered for you,
Right.
this is a program that if the board decided they wanted to participate in again next year, the board would vote on it again year after year until there was a board that said, we do not want to entertain this. It's not a once and done decision.
Yeah, I understand you guys all voted 5-0 to pass this and go on with it. You know, of course, I'm not in favor of it, but could you at least think about not killing so many?
Well, I think we would have to take that into consideration for next year. I mean, we voted on it, the plan is already being implemented, we have our goal for this year.
Which is, I mean, how many do you have that are licensed? How many?
Yeah, well, they're still have to apply with the Pennsylvania licensing laws of this
Yeah.
zone, so they can't just go out and kill 100 deer.
No,
They
but
have to
Only get so
apply.
many tags.
Yeah, you can only get so many tags to comply with it, and I'm not a hunter, so I don't know, but it's not that Mr. Thomas make out like these guys are gonna out, they're gonna come back with 20 deer. That's not the case, Jim, correct?
Correct. Our goal was 10. In the discussions at the October meeting, our goal was 10 deer.
In which my understanding is most of the tags are already gone this time of year, so they're even struggling to get people to even do this, to pilot it, by the way, to Jim's comments. So I think the amount that can be killed is not just controlled by the township, it's also controlled by the tags and what they go with, whatever the cell is, B2, C something.
5C.
5C.
So it is 5C and
And how
tags
many
are currently
tags?
closed for sales and sold out.
Correct.
So any remaining tags would be what hunters can have now for the hunting season.
but you guys can limit how many tags that you're gonna allow, right?
Well, I think we've already established that we select our number, and I think we're ready to move past that point. But what would happen then is we'll evaluate how successful the program was, how much of a problem there is, come next year, if the number was right, if it was too high, too low, and then have it come up for discussion before the board again in 2024.
So during this time from sun up to sundown, if I take my dog there during this time, it's not a good idea, I assume.
Well,
You know, my dogs are trained and they're not always on the leash, but because then they chase things. So I guess it's probably not a good idea. to
Sunday,
go there.
there's nobody there, and you're not even gonna see people.
And hopefully this, whatever you're gonna do, I can't stop it now, I'm adamantly against it though, I don't know how. You know, much more I could say that, but, you know, I'm just way against it, I just don't know how else to, you know.
There's 10 people that wanna know why they can't hunt. So I appreciate.
Well, yeah, I know I'm
I
outnumbered,
appreciate
obviously.
where you're coming from, you gotta appreciate the other people.
Yeah, well, maybe next year we can change the thing.
Take a look at a deer that's.
Well, maybe at this meeting,
Yeah.
I'll see
Well,
it.
we thank you, like you said, when the program ends in January, the next board of commissioners will be evaluated. You know, we always take recommendations and feedback from the community, and then we'll make it better if we continue to do it as best we can, so we appreciate the comments.
I mean, one other question I can ask you, is there a better time to do this than right here? So right now you have mating season, September to January, right? And so then after that, then you have herding season, and then you have, then you have the wanting season. So would there be a better time to do it than now?
Earlier in the year,
Like,
earlier in the deer hunting season. So if deer hunting season, the first archery season opens in
September 17th or so.
yeah.
First season.
You know, I'm
It's easier to get a deer throughout the course of the season than now with no foliage, but it is what it is.
I guess I'm just thinking, it's already mating season, you're taking out 2 instead of 1, if it's a female. All right, well, I said my piece. Hope you guys heard me.
Yep, thanks for the feedback.
Thank you. All right.
Anybody else wish to speak under the first public portion? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda.
Commissioner Malinowski, I apologize, but I believe we forgot the second motion under the conditional use portion.
All right, yeah, we did, but I was gonna make Keith stay here till the end.
Well, if you want to, fine,
I will go back to the, I have a short drive. We'll go back, so I do need a motion to grant conditional plan approval of the NA Muhlenberg LLC subdivision and land development plan for a project at 4450 North Fifth Street Highway, as well as all waivers as requested condition on the latest review letter from SDE for the planning commission recommendation. So moved.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you, Jim. Happy holiday. All right, now moving on to the consent agenda, I need a motion to approve the entire consent agenda. Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. Any unfinished business? All right, we'll move on to new business. The motion to approve the payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service. Move. Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion authorizes the solicitor to advertise the 2024 meeting dates and times. So moved.
Second.
The only comment is the reorganization meeting, and the only meeting for the January Board of Commissioners will be, January 8th, Monday, January 8th at 6 o'clock. So just that's the.
also President's Day, which is typically will be on the third Monday of the month. Typically that would be, we have on Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay, just for notes. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to adopt ordinance 614 setting the tax rates for 2024.
So moved.
Second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt ordinance 615 adopting the 2024 budget. So moved. Second. I'm not gonna read the budget message again, Joey, if you could put it out on the website. We went through this rather extensively since October. So I believe it's all out there publicly for public review. It was there, so any questions we look forward to answering at the next public portion. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2023-06 setting the 2024 trash and recycling rate at $3.50 per household and $3.10. 350. That would be pretty good. That would be a great rate. It would be like $350 per household and $310 per household with the senior discount.
Move.
Second.
Dawn, we don't mandate seniors reapply, correct? Or do they?
Correct, we don't anymore, we used to.
Okay,
Once
so,
they apply once, we.
gotcha.
Correct.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to adopt resolution 2023-7 approving the 2024 omnibus fee schedule.
Move.
Second,
Any questions or comments?
no major changes.
Minor changes to the large event, parks, large event policy and to the athletic field use policy, but relatively minor.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2023-08, setting the compensation rate for 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2023-09, appointing the Berks County Tax Claim Bureau as the delinquent real estate tax collector.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2023-10, appointing H.A. Birkenheimer as the 2024 amusement tax collector.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2023-11, authorizing the 2024 traffic signal maintenance contract with Telco.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, any questions or comments on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to ratify resolution 2023-12, authorizing the township manager and fire chief to apply for the local share assessment grant to purchase new fire apparatus.
So moved.
second,
Questions or comments, just real quick, chief, for the public?
Yeah, so we, this is 0% match grant, up to projects for $1 million, so our project was roughly 836,000. I believe we'll hear about next year potentially, so it'll help reduce township costs here in the future, looking at replacing a 1991 fire.
Gotcha. Thank you, chief. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to accept the patrol officer civil service list as certified by the Civil Service Commission.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the chief of police to issue 3 conditional offers of employment to candidates on the current civil service list.
So moved.
second,
Chief, any comments? I did see that we had a first meeting, or not a first, but
Yes, the 3 people on the list, 2 will be in the academy, 1 is already got certified, and 1 of those is a female.
yeah, sure. Thank you, chief. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to reduce the Fairmont Avenue irrevocable letter of credit to $57,713.
So moved.
discussion, I saw 94,103.
I was gonna, if we do a second, I can comment
I'll
on that.
second
Okay.
that.
So that was a typo on my behalf last month. The number reduced should have been 57. 94 is what it was, well, is what it is 3 minutes ago. So it's being reduced to 57,000. They have some street trees, some street lights to finish, and that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion approved to reduction to the irrevocable letter of credit for the Hay Road Apartment Project at $357,318.22, and to start the 18-month warranty period for the dedicated improvements.
I'll move that.
Second. Any questions or comments?
This is the Hay Road Luxury Apartments. Commerce Street was dedicated. We're waiting for some final paperwork from the property owner in regards to recording. Otherwise, we'll be performing winter maintenance on the new portion of Commerce Street, and we have 18 months to contest any improvements that they may have made that may not have been to our standards.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Noes if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to authorize the Director of Parks and Recreation to engage SCE to prepare a bid package to replace the roof on the recreation building at 3025 River Road.
Moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to authorize the solicitor advertising ordinance vacating portions of Darby Avenue and Western Avenue as part of the NDA Muhlenberg Land Development Plan.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the Director of Parks and Recreation to execute an agreement with the Burks Disc Golf Club in order to define the relationship and responsibilities for use and maintenance of the disc golf course at Laurel Lane Park.
So moved.
Second. Any questions or comments?
Well, I just, personally, I involved with the Brooks Disc Golf Club, not that I play a lot, but I know the guys that helped build the course. And they have 2 tournaments a year that are professional disc golf association affiliated, but they do tournaments. And I think if we're affiliated, we can be covered by the township's insurance, which they're not at this point. Plus the fact that they're always at the course, they're fixing things up. They can be our eyes and ears when we're not there to explain any damages and can keep the police involved if there's criminal mischief going on. So I'm just formalizing the relationships, and that was recommended by the Parks Board.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any, the ayes have it, and so ordered. Need a motion to award the 2024 snow removal bid to Asphalt Trucking. Second, you saw the bid results in your packet. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any, the ayes have it, and so ordered. Any other new business? Any of the board members have? Board appointments. We need a motion to appoint the various boards and committees for the 2024 appointments summary provided by the township manager. Their appointments would all expire 12/31/2023. Correct?
There's a variety of expiration dates.
Okay.
I didn't have that written in the motion, did I?
No, but some of these would be, I think some of these, we only did the December ones that expired at the end of December.
I mean, do you guys already know who you're appointing, so
Well,
ones
yeah,
that
I
expire
think
later,
the
or
same
January?
thing is, all these were contacted, they want the term and they're.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure we're fine. Commissioner Wersch's point earlier, the proper appropriate procedures for appointing the board members. All right. So, that list, just for the Parks and Recreation Board, 5-year term of Jim Kelly and Tony Lapita, the Planning Commission, 4-year term, Diane Benson. And Dave Hepner, Zoning Hearing Board, 3-year term, Lynn Seiler, Arts Board, 3-year term, Ann Barlett, and Muhlenberg Township Authority, 5-year term, Walt Lasoda.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments?
There are still some vacancies on the Arts Board as well, if anyone is interested.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Second public portion, would anyone like to speak under the second public portion? No. And we'll kick off, staff comments. Let's
Happy
go.
holidays. You all. That's it.
Joseph?
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy new year. Obviously, weather this time of year, stay tuned to our website and the app for any updates. You should have received your magazine, this past week for all the upcoming events and, news and articles in the township. And, that's it for me.
Hear me?
I think I know who said that.
There you go. Go on.
No,
Milton? Chiefs, if we say chiefs, you should sit on opposite sides of the road. Chief Hoover, do you want to start?
Sure. I just want to thank the board for, the approval to issue the offers of the new offers. They'll get the department back up to 33. And we'll be in better quality. I also wanted to publicly thank, Mr. Lasada for his, coaching, his, advocacy for the police department over the past year, and I just like to see him go.
Thanks, Chief.
I don't have much, just comment on November's, activity and operation. We were at 99 calls for service in November, about 20 or 30 below average, which is great for the community. I'd like to also thank Vanessa for her time in the past year and help the environment. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
We had our planning commission meeting last week, so we will not have, we rescheduled that meeting. It was originally supposed to be this week. But in order to get the NDA Muhlenberg LLC their, conditional plan recommendation, we held it a week earlier, so we will not have another planning commission meeting this month. We also, saw another plan there for 1855 Milton Street. The Jewish Community Center there is proposing a mikvah. So that plan was approved, but conditioned on SDE's review letter, and they have some T's to cross and some I's to dot before the board approves that plan.
Thank you. Jim. Commissioner Lynch, you first.
Mr. Thomas, thank you for coming out tonight. Sometimes the board has to take a vote that doesn't always. Yeah, sorry. You know, they may not always be popular with everyone, but, you know, we're trying to make informed decisions as best we can. We will take your concerns under advisement for next year, have them written down for those of us who will still be on the board next year. But thank you for coming up and partaking. I want to wish everybody a happy holidays, happy new year. Walt and Vanessa, thank you so very much for agreeing to serve with us. I am sorry to see you go also. Vanessa, you brought, you know, a different viewpoint to the board, and it was nice to hear your voice. You know, I know sometimes that testosterone can flow a little bit, but, you know, just professionally, you brought, you know, a different viewpoint and asked us to ask questions when we were making decisions. Walt, and I want to thank you also for your knowledge and leadership and mentorship, the background that you bring from your prior full-time position, you know, was invaluable to us also, and I learned a lot from both of you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for filling the vacancies on the board. It was a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lasota, you're up.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo what everyone else said about happy holidays and a happy and healthy new year. And yeah, this will be my last meeting, and I just want to thank my fellow commissioners and also the staff of Muhlenberg Township. I don't think our residents don't know how much time and effort the commissioners put into preparing for these meetings, and as liaisons to the different departments. And our staff, I just can't echo enough how professional they are. As I leave this position, I think the most important thing that I've seen is the teamwork between the departments. I've been involved in other organizations where they're working in their own little niches, and this group here of staff just helps each other out, wherever their weaknesses are, so keep that up, so I'm gonna continue to be a resident. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutton. Commissioner Wolfinger.
Just want to thank Vanessa and Walt, and it's nice to know you guys are gonna still be here on the planning commission. So thank you for being part of the MTA. I also want to thank Otto Voigt for his time on MTA. He's taken a little sabbatical from, I guess, the school board and from MTA, and he's done a lot for the community, and thank you, Walt. The staff put together a fantastic newsletter, and there's a lot of good stuff in it. They're not cheap, and some of the costs are defrayed by these little people in the back saying they're giving money to help send this thing out. So please read your newsletter as to what's happening in the township. I mean, there's Oliver Place, Jack Steiner, ADE, accounting, they all gave money to get this thing out. Please read it. Thank you.
Thank you. Your parting words, not planning.
Merry Christmas to everyone, Happy New Year, and thank you all. I go back to planning with a better understanding on how the process works, and I think I'm better because I went through this year. So hope to see everyone there and continue with your support and continue supporting our community. Thank you.
Thank you both, and you know, like I said, I mean, it's been a tough year too, 2023, and you two walked in, some tough meetings, some long meetings, that sometimes we're gonna have a very good discussion. And yeah, 2023 was tough, and I appreciate everything that you've done. You see how hard the staff works, and sometimes folks don't realize how much time and effort goes into these positions, but we did want to give you a parting gift. So you can put your diamond in Vanessa, put her office, and recognize your service here to our community. So you have something to take home. I didn't wrap it, it's not a Christmas present. Thank you everyone for coming. Have a great evening, and we'll see you on 2024.